Hi guys and fellow urban farmers, it's Les here over at Featherstone Hydroponics. This is video 6 of our setup for the 1.2 metre tent. Now we've got our watering system set up, we've got the tent set up, the tray in the bottom so it doesn't leak. We've got the lighting set up, we've got the basic extraction set up for the excess heat to get it out there, ventilation system. We've incorporated a carbon filter in case it's a fragrant crop, shall we say. And now what we're going to be looking at is the different types of potting medium. Now I've got one represented from each of the main categories, which is soil and coir, and we'll call it hydroculture, which is like basically just water. So I'll tell you the difference. Now bearing in mind we're going to be using in our system, in this tent, we're going to be using this Wilma Large 4 system, aren't we? And this is what's referred to as a recirculating system, or a recycling system if you want to say. So what happens is it gets watered, the water and the nutrients will get watered into the top of your pot, they run through the pot, down the hole and back into the sump. And the next time your timer kicks in, it'll water them again, it'll just go round in a cycle like this. And after perhaps a week, 10 days or so, whatever the manufacturer says on the packet, what you do is you throw that water away and put fresh nutrients back in. Right, so it just uses it and uses it and uses it, and then you chuck it and put fresh in. But that's with the hydroculture stuff and that system. If you were growing it in a pot, which is probably the simplest method of all, of course, is to grow it in a plant pot. It's the cheapest way, most definitely, because basically all you need for the same setup is 4 plant pots and 4 trays, isn't it? Job done. It's a manually, this type of setup is a manually watering system, so you just basically get a jug and water your plants, tend them every day like you would expect. Now for this system you're going to need either the soil based or the coir based. That is not going to be suitable for using in this recirculating system, because what's going to happen is as you water it and it comes through, it's going to bring all this particle with it. It's going to go into your sump, it's going to clog your pipes, clog your nozzles, it's going to be a right mess. So this is not really going to be suitable for that. For that kind of system, our kind of system, you need one of these, I will call it inert material, because there's no biological material in that at all. But I'll describe all of these in a second. So what we've got here, we have got a bat mix, what's called a bat mix, and a bat mix is basically, it's got guano in it, which is, if you don't know, it's bat shit, which is made up of tiny insects that's just like been dropped on bottom of caves over thousands of years in some cases. And that, anyway, they gather it up, it's got extremely good nutritional value for your plants. So it's a mixture, I'll show you up close, it's a mixture of bat guano. Here you go. See this? This is what it looks like. You see it's got bits of white stuff in. That's perlite. It looks just like normal potting compost, but it's actually made up of German black peat and Baltic white peat. The German stuff is the fine material that you might be able to, if I grab a bit. The German is the fine material that you can see, but when you get to a bit like this, it's ropey, can you see it? And fibrous. That's the Baltic white stuff. It's also got, like I said, the white bits of perlite, and it's got lime added to it to balance out the pH. This is a lovely material. Now this has already got nutrients in it, obviously, from the peat and the guano especially. So it's very forgiving for first time growers, because it's already got some nutrients in there. So that's a really good one. This next one is what's called Coco, which is the fibre off the cocoa plant and the shells and all this kind of stuff. Can you see that? So this is cocoa peat, where they get the fibres of the cocoa or coconut and all this kind of stuff, and they basically compost it. It turns it into peat. But it also incorporates, as you can see, these airy bits. These are cocoa fibres, right? So it's a mixture of cocoa peat and cocoa fibre, but there's absolutely no nutrients in that whatsoever. It's completely blank. So for this, if you're going to use this type of material, which is really good, you're in control from day one for the feeding regime of this. This one's got something in, so it's a little bit of buffer if you like. This one you've got to start feeding from day one. but it's brilliant stuff. Now these, like I say, are both really ideally suited for pot culture. The next one that we're looking at is this Rockwool. You see Rockwool in all sorts of forms. This is a very strange material. For this one, what they do, they actually get volcanic rock and also the slag from furnaces, you know, coal furnaces and that slag material. It's like a hard brick that's bubbled. They get all that and they put it all in a furnace with one or two other bits, obviously, into a big melting pot, right? And they melt it so it's the same temperature as in a volcano. It's about 1800 degrees centigrade, something like that, and it all glows. And a little bit like a candy floss machine where they put sugar crystals in and it spins and it turns it into candy floss, doesn't it? What they do with this is they get the molten rock and they spin that in the same way, so it goes through a little hole and it spins in a big drum, and then this thing sort of scrapes it off, and this is what you get. So they kind of process it, you know, flatten it and all that, press it and things, and then they cut it into these little squares, and that's what you get. So it's a completely inert material. Not going to adjust your pH or anything like that. Really, really nice, cheap to use, clean to use. Now this material, you're actually supposed to wet it before you use it. But because I use this material, because I have quite a few orchids actually, phragmipediums mainly, that only really grow in this Rockwool. If you put them in anything else, they don't like it. So they actually grow in this. Now what I've found is when you wet it, it's a bit of a messy game because it's dribbling all over and all this kind of shit. I don't like it, so I just use it dry and then water it afterwards. I've never had an issue with it. So that's that one. And this is the last one I'm looking at. These are the clay pebbles. They look like a tray of Maltesers, doesn't it? Now again, I've used these in the orchids. I've used this Phalaenopsis grow well in this, but Phalaenopsis tend to push themselves out of it. But as you can see, these are balls, and what they do with this, they get little balls of clay, and they actually fire them into a rotating kiln, a round kiln. It's rotating at the same time. So these little balls, as they're getting fired in, they're rolling around, and that's why they're round, because they're rolling as they're baking. Now the thing with these is that, as you can see on outside, they've got like a red coating on them. They're clean when they come out of the factory, but when they get packaged in sacks and they're moved about from pillar to post, and back and forwards and all this, they rub against each other, and they can produce like a red brick dust. See if I can get some on my hand. Yeah, you can probably see this. Can you see that? That's off the pebbles. Now, if you use them straight away, what's going to happen is that you're going to wash all that shit straight into your water, and into your sump. So that's not going to be good either, because you're going to get all that crap in it. So what you're supposed to do with them is soak them for 12-24 hours and rinse all that crap off, wash them through. Now the only snag with that, the only slight snag, is that because they contain a lot of water once you've wet them, and we're going to measure 70 litres of nutrients into that, and we're going to adjust the pH of the water, but that's in a later video. Once we put our plants into that and then start that system, it's going to flush out all the water that we've just put into this straight back into our sump, isn't it? And the water going in is going to be a different pH to the water that we intended to be going in. So I don't know how much of a difference that's going to actually make to it. But certainly you need to wash these pellets. What it says in the literature really is that you're supposed to get some water and adjust the pH so it's neutral, and then wash the pebbles in that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I'm going to go to that extreme. I'm just going to get the hose pipe through. So you're going to need like a funnel of some description, what do you call it, a colander perhaps, and get hose pipe on them and shake them like this to wash all that shit off so that they're nice and clean, and then basically just let them drain. You know, that's all you can do really, isn't it? So that's these two ones here. Either of them are going to be suitable for this system that we're using. I haven't really yet decided whether I'm using that or that. I'm going to decide when I get to that. This is what we're actually going to be potting up. This is one of the peppers. This particular one is a reaper. Now I would, normally I was going to show you how to pot it in this particular video. But then I'm thinking, well, if I pot it in this video, I can't water the stuff because I haven't prepared my nutrients. And nutrients in the next video. So I'm going to have to show you the nutrients first and then do the potting because I want to be able to water it with that. That makes sense. I can't do it arse over behind backwards because it will not make any sense. So anyway, that's the basic principle behind these different types of potting medium. We all use the word compost. You might hear me occasionally say compost, and what I mean is whatever it's potted in. There is no such thing as a real compost. It depends on, you know, if there's something growing in it, it's compost, isn't it, really? So that's about it, really. I've told you about the pots. These two are ideally suited for this really cheap method of doing it. The only thing with this is you've got to keep your eye on it and keep watering it all the time. These two are going to be suitable for that. Now this one, I thought originally, I'll use these pebbles because I don't know how big this pepper plant's going to get. You know, in that tent it's going to get quite big, I would have thought. And I don't want it to be going like this and be all folly overy. So I thought, I'll use these clay pebbles because these are heavier than this anyway. But thinking about it, I don't think these hold as much water as this. This holds a tremendous amount of water and it's heavy when it's wet. So I think this is actually going to be more of a stabilising force than this, because this is not going to be able to change shape. Do you know what I mean? The particles, they're rigid. Whereas this will actually change shape. You know, the particles, they'll probably collapse a little bit, which will lock it all in like. That's why Phalaenopsis grow out of this. They just basically push themselves out. So I'm going to be using I've made a decision, we're going to be using Rockwool. Now there's two types of nutrients for these, two different types of systems. If it's a recycling system, you want to be using aquaculture stuff. If it's a normal water into waste, which basically means you water it, it gathers in your dish, you leave it for 10 minutes, if it's not sucked it up, you chuck that away. That's to waste. This is recycling. So for this you need a different type of material. This one will have extra bits in it to keep it clean, stop any build-up of deposits and stuff like that. Whereas this is not necessary because you're going straight down to toilet once you've finished it, or into your garden or whatever. No point wasting it, you're going to plant. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope it's been informative. We should get this done in another, let's think. On the next video I'm going to show you the nutrients and how we adjust the pH levels of the water. Because you need to be able to do that as well. You'll need a pH meter for that, which is another video again. Yeah, and then the next one after that we can do the actual potting, and the final one will be assembling all of this stuff that we've been looking at into the tent and turning it on like Blackpool illustrations. Right, I'm going to have a slurp of coffee while it's sat here. Don't forget we are open 7 days a week down at Featherstone Hydroponics, juice cabin mods, etc. Various businesses in here. Finest coffee in Yorkshire. Like I said, this week I'm on the tail end of Puerto Rican, Brazilian. Roasted for us. Anyway, enough about that. Oh, no, not quite enough. Yeah, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, which is Life with Les. Also subscribe to the other channel, which is Vape It with Les. If you're into electronic cigarettes, get over there and have a look at them. There is one or two little bits of electronic cigarettery come in today, actually. So I'm going to be doing a video on at least one of them this week, which I haven't been doing reviews of that recently, but I will be doing. That will go over on the other channel. And don't forget also, get over to the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/juicecabin. That sounds strange, but that's because all of these videos are produced and they're put on there, so you can go and have a look. Also, there's competitions and things running over there, at least twice a week for E6 stuff for juice and whatnot. So yeah, that's about it. Give it a thumbs up, leave some comments. I'd like to see comments. There's not many people leaving comments down below. Come on, I'm doing my best here, Coco. Come on, and get yourself down here to Juice Cabin and Featherstone Hydroponics. We've got all your pots, pipes, bagging, everything you could possibly want down here now. See you later.